Uh, this is my first stream. I'm going to be just practicing some basic stuff. Um, if you want to, you can go ahead and just ask me anything. Um, uh, Probably no one watching right now, so I'll have to probably go over that all over again. Well, I mean, I will have to go over that all over again, but you know, whatever. Okay. Just put the feet in. Okay. We got all the feet. All the feet. All the feet. Okie dokie. Just make this bigger. I don't need these to be smart objects. Whatever. Dun, 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 dun. Right. Oh, God. Been a while. Okay, got that. Got these feet. Got those feet. I don't know why it does that. Why does it do that? Just gonna close that. Should be capturing. Oh well. Oh, yeah. Okay. Um, just for right now, we'll focus on this one. So all I'm doing today is like practicing my feet and perspective on feet and stuff. So I got some random pictures for practicing. There's stock photos from Mostly Guys Stock, I believe is the name. And they're from DeviantArt.com. They have some good stuff there for stock photos. Figured I'd just shout out where I got these. So before I start like freehand like copying these, I'm just gonna kind of find all the stuff that is like in my opinion important for me to know. Just kind of trace. So you got the basic foot before you have the toes, because this is kind of a weird one where they're curled up like that. So like it's kind of an odd stock photo. It's got the curving. So like turn that off. Like no way I know that's a foot. But we're just practicing, so it doesn't really matter. So got like the ankle, like that bone that sticks out right here. I don't. No. That's a little bit better of blue. All right. So let's see. Got the ankle. Jesus. Got the outside. Ooh. That? Yeah. Okay. All right. Got the toes. This is a weird one to start on because it's just such an that's a weird one. Let's see what else do we have. Are these all going to be upturned toes? They're all going to be upturned toes. Okay. delete all of this. At least you can kind of tell that I traced a foot there. That one. We could try that one. Let's do that. So just bring all of these in again. Dum, 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 dum. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. Dun, dun. Okay, so get rid of that. Okay, let's just move that over, kill all of those. Okay, so let's see. I'm focusing on. So this is kind of cool because it's one that's entirely a side profile, and then one that's totally straight on from the top, which is cool. So let's dun, 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 dun. So we've got, there's that. It's not as prominent on the inside of the foot on this guy. I guess it kind of feels like it's that same way on my foot. But we got, kind of goes in and out. I mean, most of the time you're not drawing bare feet. Well, I'm not generally drawing bare feet. Well, then one of my characters does have bare feet, so I guess that's not true. And let's see, this bottom foot here, you can see like only a slight arch for the, because it's down into the carpet. So really, it's more probably like that if we're getting into it. The foot kind of comes in and out. So I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what I can do. Is there anyone joining me? No, not yet. Okay. Well, that's fine. I'm just doing this for practicing my stuff anyway. So when I typically do a foot, it's kind of like this. And then obviously like the kind of need to put the toes in as you, if you're doing an actual bare foot. Okay. So you kind of have like the 2 points of pressure where your foot is going to be. You kind of make that arc that kind of comes in, and then you kind of do another little mini arc on the toe. And then, so you got that. And from the side, you don't really see that bone from the outer edge, like the outer contour. So you have it in there, like that. And then just kind of put the toes in there, like that. Let's see. That's kind of how that works. So got that foot kind of done. And this is really, really rough. I'm not trying to make finished artworks here. More focused on just the basic like form, like what I want it to show. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have anyone following me right now. That's fine. No one's watching, so I'm just going to keep trucking along. So then we have that basic, really sketchy kind of drawing done. And then for this one, the curve on the outside is a little bit more dramatic because it has that bone that's kind of sticking out a little bit more. Got there. And it's interesting because you've got that and it kind of sinks in and comes back out. Back out like that. For the toe, that big toe is kind of all on its own. Then the other toes. It's kind of weird if you ever looked at your feet. These two toes always seem to be kind of linked together, and then the other two are just kind of separate. So these are their own thing, and then for some reason it feels like these are really connected, like in this area, if you ever kind of paid attention to your feet for whatever reason. And as an artist, your best frame of reference is your own body. When you're trying to figure out poses and hand gestures and feet, it's sometimes difficult to get feet. So like having a resource like DeviantArt or some other stock resource can be really, really helpful for finding good stock photos to work from. And right now I'm just doing like contour of these different things. That's just all I'm focusing on. Like if I really wanted to start doing like an actual foot, I probably wouldn't be using contours. I would just go in and start blocking color, which is something I'm really new to. But I've seen a lot of work on digital paintings, and that seems to be the best, in my opinion, that's the best way to go about that stuff. So let's look at this one. So let's just, I don't need that. I need, oh, not what I meant. Oh Lord, okay. And then just get these out of my way. Okay, deselect that. All right. So let's see, in this one, I have a better angle. I got an angle that's a little more interesting, I guess, would be the best way to describe this. So, got the foot, and you see it kind of overlaps itself right there. And you can really see the arch from this one a lot better. And again, you kind of have that skin overlap there. And that bone kind of sitting in this general area. And if you want to break this up into kind of like a plane, so you see what's going on there. So this would be the planes. Yeah, the carpet really tones down that arch that he has, because it's a heavy arch, and then it's very light on that carpet. So that heel and the ball of the foot are kind of sitting down into the carpet there. Let's see. Is anybody watching me? No. Twitch. Nope. Nobody is watching. Okay, that's fine. Let's see. Again, we can break this into these kind of planes. That would even be broken into a plane further there. So, I mean, if you really want to improve on your two-dimensional art and you want it to seem more three-dimensional when people are looking at it, this is a good way to practice. Find these forms and then kind of break them down into planes like this, and then kind of just like, if you're doing it traditionally, which is a little bit easier for me, I would shade them in a way to show that these are like turning the form. These shadows are kind of making these things happen. So I've got there, got some shadow there. this is only on shadow because of that foot. The light is coming from this direction, so all of the shadow would be coming out over here. This just has shadow because it's turning that form. Anyway, and you can crosshatch to make your point. Like, got this, then like maybe that little bit right there is kind of more shadowed, and kind of fade that out. So let's see, like let's call that so like let's say this whole bit here was shadowed, but certain parts of it would be a little bit more shadowed, so in here I would throw another, like a darker section, just because that kind of gives that a little bit more volumetric feel. Like, no. If we throw in those opposing diagonals, kind of made that already look more voluminous. But again, like, that's not exactly what I'm working on right now. I'm just trying to study these different like feet, how the perspective would be. So, I mean, this one's a little trickier. Then and you don't have to be perfect when you're doing like studies like these. It's really just kind of trying to train yourself. If I weren't streaming, I guarantee you no one would ever see these. And I mean, as of right now, no one has seen these still, so it doesn't really matter. That is really off. Not entirely sure why. Let's get all of it quick. There we go. So, okay, so when I was doing it, I didn't make that wide where it needs to be. I don't need to go away. It's the only thing I don't like about this tab is I don't, it likes to try and make me write my words on the screen for some reason. So that's a little bit better. Again, these aren't polished, finished pieces of art that I'm working on. This is simply a way to help me draw more, try and improve on a daily basis. Well, on a weekly basis at the very least. There we go. So it's really just a tool for me to improve as an artist, especially as a digital artist, someone who does not work often digitally. It's very different than my working in my sketchbook. My sketchbook, I prefer my contours and my line work. In digital painting, digital art, it's more painting than it is line work. I feel like so that's going to be something I have to get used to. And again, with these, like just my drawing over these, kind of learning how that works, how these different parts work visually, that alone will help. And then me kind of working it out, like this is closer than this was when I started this one. I feel like they're by no means good, but again, like one of the reasons I use references is to try and like train how I see the form. Like honestly, you can make a wedge form, like round that heel out a little bit, and then like that's a foot, you know, and then from there you work it out, and then from the top it would look like toes, top of the, and then the heel would be like there. So it's when you break things down into simple forms, that helps a lot for me, when people can break it down simply. So if that's something that helps you, great. If not, you just need to find the way that helps you when you're trying to improve your work. Like you may not like working from references. A lot of people, for some reason, think that that's like cheating or whatever. But I mean, how else are you going to see how things move in real life? The, the best way to let's see, I'm not wanting to go. Okay. So let's see. Okay. So this is the traced bit. Let's see. So like these look way better than my actual drawings right here. Let's see. See, it was, yeah, like so yeah, you can see like my drawing versus like what I copied, like very, very different. But that's fine. Again, like it's kind of pushing me in the right direction though. If you see, like they're pretty close as far as like size and everything goes. Like this is obviously I did a little bit more, and I had the help of it being traced. And tracing for learning purposes sake is not a bad thing. You never want to trace a stock photo um, exactly when you're trying to make finished art or anything like that. That would be a really bad idea. So don't do that. That like someone worked hard to make that stock photo available to you. You shouldn't just rip someone's artwork off. That would be a, a bad thing to do. Like, and it, even though it's not technically art, it's to help you as an artist. So you shouldn't take that kind of advantage of something like that. That would be in poor taste. But for what I'm doing, I'm practicing. I'm not going to be using these as a final finished piece of artwork, and it, like the way they are, only the feet, it wouldn't help me in a final piece of art just being feet, unless I was doing like a study, I guess, which is what I'm doing. But I'm not going to make a final piece of art out of this. So in this one, you have the foreshortened front view of your foot, which is something I struggle with quite a bit because the foot is kind of like a weird, like it almost makes like a duck foot shape when it's faced at you and you're trying to foreshorten something like that. It's not easy. Um, so that's something that's helpful when you have a reference like this, is you can check and see kind of what's going on, what's happening um, with your proportions and stuff. If you're ever having a hard time trying to draw something, always like look it up and see, and kind of sit there like um, see if you can find something to help you, an image to help you, like a stock image. Um, so like we can break these down into 3 pieces. It's hard to break this front one down into 3 pieces because you only have the view of the top of the foot and the toes. And even here, like the toes are facing you like that. So I guess like the tips of the toes, the tops of the toes, the top of the foot. And you obviously you can't see the heel because it's behind the rest of the foot. Here you can break it down. You have the heel, that middle like part of the foot, and then you have your toe. And there's other toes in there, obviously, they're just behind. And that's kind of the deal most of the time. You'll see all of the toes or one of the toes. I don't normally see like some of the toes. It's generally all or not or one. Either you see the big toe like this, or you see all of the toes somehow, depending on the angle. Because that big toe is so large, it generally, like if you see it from a side, you'll cover it. Or if you see it from the opposite side, because each toe kind of, generally speaking, they all kind of step out a little bit farther than the last one. So you'll see all of them. Maybe see 2 toes from behind if you're really breaking that down, I guess. But like from this photo here, like if I were to, let's see, try and approximate what it would look like from behind. I mean, that's kind of what it would look like from behind. So it would, let's erase some of this. So let's see. outside is a little bit more pronounced on that. So let's see. So that's kind of what I would be seeing from behind in this situation, is this. Yeah. So there's things that you can kind of infer from a picture, like what it would look like from behind versus what it looks like what you've got in front of you. Like from the opposite direction, you can kind of come up with your idea, because like, you know, this is kind of like ball shape. This is a tiny little kind of like ball shape. Those points of pressure you have. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I think that is gonna kind of end it this time. So I will try to be on every Monday and Thursday from here on out. That's kind of what I want to do, is Mondays, Thursdays, and I kind of want to try and do 11 to 12. I think is like the time frame I want to be in for this. So I hope that if you're looking for something to watch, you will stop by and watch me. Yeah. So till next time, I'm out. Laters, guys.